Hello friends, it's July 8th, otherwise known as day 4 of summerween, but also Liam's 14th birthday. I find myself today at the beach water park with a bunch of teenagers, and I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna read 2 books. I don't think either of these have audiobooks, so they're really great options for today. Pour One for the Devil and Woodworm. I expect to be able to get through both of them because we will be here for hours. We're doing lunch, we're doing shaved ice. In fact, I'm gonna go grab myself shaved ice while they're hanging out in the water. Hello, we're home. Good news, had a great time at the beach. Bad news, sunburn. The sunburn is only in the area of my back. I could not reach to put sunscreen on. More good news, I did start reading both of my books. Bad news, I didn't finish either of them, but we will rectify that soon after we do dinner. More good news, Liam's birthday dinner he chose Indian food. Sounds delicious. Not as luxurious as I thought when I told him we could order absolutely anything that he wanted from any restaurant. More good news, stopped by my mom's house. She gave me a gift. A gift on my son's birthday. She said she saw this shirt and thought of me. I've never felt more seen. More good news, Liam's going for a sleepover tonight. It's good news for him. It's whatever for me, but it does mean that I have more of a peaceful evening with more reading to come. Like, obviously I'll miss him because it's his birthday, but I've spent a lot of time with him already. Oh, also I got bookmarks from my mom to stock up the shop, and there are so many pretty ones. So if you missed the last restock we did, there is another one. All of these should be still live by the time you're seeing this. And that's enough blabbering for me because I need to get to my books. I truly don't know where my attention span is today. It's 10:42. It took me until 10:42 at night to finish this 150-page book. And I had already read the first 25 pages in this video where I was choosing my TBR. So I'm not gonna be finishing this one tonight, but I do have like an hour before I go to sleep. And I figured I would move on to horror movie because to complete, I just found out there's a bingo board. I only saw the original challenge list and I just noticed there's a bingo board. I haven't looked too deeply at it, but obviously all the challenges are on it. And one of them is to read a book in the dark, and I need to do that. And I want to listen to the audiobook of this. So I think I will start that tonight and then do it again tomorrow night. Let's see what else is on it though. Read a book in the dark, watch a scary movie, bake a fall inspired treat, listen to a Halloween playlist, read a book outside. Okay, I can check that off. Can I bake something tomorrow? I don't want to leave the house. It's so hot. I'm so glad we didn't end up going camping for Liam's birthday. This is the first year of his entire life. 13 years we have gone camping on his birthday. And the last couple years, it just like wasn't as fun, mostly because of the heat. It's always the hottest freaking week of the entire year on his birthday. And that's true for today. I'm hot. Obviously I'm sunburnt. I keep getting all of these warnings on my phone. Apparently it was 40 today and it's the highest it's been all week. So my bad for, see, yeah, his exact birthday is always so hot. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, my attention span. As I go off on 4 different tangents before telling you about this book. My attention span is so bad. I've been doing that thing. I'm sure this is relatable to somebody out there, but the whole like, I'm gonna read 20 pages and then I can watch a YouTube video, and then 20 more pages and then I can watch a YouTube video, because I really want to keep up with all the summerween content. And so that's what I've been doing for the last couple hours. And I finished this, Woodworm, Layla Martinez. Have I told you the plot of this? It is about a kind of like sentient house that kind of devours people, like that's the idea of it. And this house has the curse on it, or the family has a curse on it based on this man. And there are 3 generations of women who this man affected, and it's just like a feminist revenge story. I think my like warning is just, if you don't like books that don't have quotation marks, this is one of those. The dialogue is just in the paragraphs, and also each chapter is from a different perspective, but it doesn't tell you who it is, and you can pick it up from context clues. But if you're somebody who gets easily confused, I might not recommend it. But as far as the story itself, I would recommend it. I think it did everything I expected it to do. It was kind of like a dark fairy tale, but then it left a lot of things open-ended, and I'm giving it a 4 at the end of the day, which I'm so glad, because I love when beautiful books get high ratings. I adore this edition. I like this cover too. I actually really like this cover, but I just love the existence of this when it's like printed on the actual book. And it's translated by two different people, Sophie Hughes and Annie McDermott. And it's just gotten me thinking because there were a couple, okay, well, first of all, the quotes in here, I don't know if these will mean anything to anyone, but I tabbed a couple of things. They're talking about their daughter that was born, and it said, "My mother was sure she was going to die. So many children died back then. You had to baptize them quick because just like that, they'd catch a chill, and by the morning they'd be cold as icebergs in their cribs. But my daughter didn't die. She pulled through every fit and fever with the grit her father had lacked. This girl wants to live," Carmen used to say when she came over to see us, and I never told her, but it wasn't that. The thing is, in this house, the dead live too long and the living not long enough. Those of us in between, like me and my daughter, do neither one thing nor the other. The house won't let us die, and it sure as hell won't let us live anywhere else. Oh my God. And then I also tabbed, I didn't tab, yeah, I dog-eared it. The whole village thought they could wish ill on their family and get away with it, but they could slip through the woods in the middle of the night and come to this house in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a wasteland, to cook up some bad luck for the boss, the lord, the master, without ever paying the price. But they detest us all equally, find us all equally disgusting, and that disgust gets inside us and fills us with a poison that we carry so deep down we start thinking it's ours, but it's not. And then there were a couple things, just like phrases, that made me think about the translation. I've been reading a lot of translated books lately, and it's so interesting how a lot of the ones that I really appreciate tend to be from two translators, which I don't see as often. And it's just made me aware that I don't know anything. I always say this, I don't know anything about publishing. I don't know anything about anything. But I'm so curious about books that have two editors versus one. Like, I'm sure there isn't a hard and fast rule. And so maybe everything I'm about to say does qualify for a different book, but I'm just wondering why. Like, why do some books get two editors? I imagine it could be that the book is so long it needed two. I imagine that maybe people work really well in a pair. I imagine like maybe the first translation is, I think the way I actually imagine it is like the first person is hired to like do the initial like maybe their native language is the same as the author and they translate it to a new language in like, it's not its most basic parts, because obviously like translation is such a skill and it's an art form in and itself. But then maybe the second editor does like their own pass and they take all of the more direct translations, more of the like maybe formal language that it's been translated directly to, and they like make it more casual and they make it more like, this book integrated slang really well. Like really simple things like using till instead of until. Or this one that said, I watched the press conference on my phone in fits and starts. And instead of like, maybe there was just one word in Spanish that meant like sporadically, like I watched it sporadically. And instead they wanted to make it more unique, like fits and starts, which you might not know if you're not a native English speaker. It just makes me so curious about how translators work. Like if there's two, are they each doing a chapter? Are they each like splitting the book? I imagine they wouldn't be splitting the book in half. Do they each do their own translation and then they like mix and meld it together? Like, ooh, you did that really well. I did this one really well. Or is it that one does the entire pass and then, like I said, the other person comes in and like finesses it all? I don't know, but there's probably also not one answer. But I will end the day with the last line of the book, which is, I switched off the bedside lamp, because that is what I'm about to do, reading horror movie, listening to it in the dark. That didn't do anything because I have another lamp on. Hold on, let me do that again. Oh, that lighting is not flattering. And I switched off the bedside lamp. Is that the moon? That's a street light, Kayla. I'm not actually sure how much I got into this, like how many pages. I could double check or check at all. Cross-reference my audiobook, but I'm kind of in a hurry. I have to go pick up Liam from the sleepover and I have to stop by the grocery store to grab things for a baked treat, but also dinner. And then I have some things I have to pick up from the library or they will go back into rotation. My first impressions of this is I'm into it. I really like mixed media, but I also get nervous about it because things like whatever that one by Craig DeLuey was, I thought would be one of my favorites ever. And it kind of let me down because there's only so much that you can pull off in a script type narrative. But then the one by Stephen Graham Jones that was like all a script, I think because of the writing style, that's what made it a really good story for me, even if it didn't bring like the horrors and the scares. And so because I'm liking the writing style of this, and I just adore Paul Tremblay's authorial voice, the very pretentious vibe that he brings. Like the Pallbearers Club, I think is in my top 10 favorite books of all time, but don't quote me, I have to reread it. This just has similar energy. It's a very self-aware type of story in my mind. It's talking about its own pretension. It's saying right in the pages, this movie may not be for everyone. This script may not appeal to everyone, but we're gonna make it anyway. And I feel like that is him writing his books. Like not everyone's gonna get it. We're following, I think, an unnamed main character who is cast in this movie by some of his friends, but then there's some small glimpses into the future or current day and people wanting to like actually make the movie that didn't get made, and people being obsessed with the script and wanting him involved because he's the only surviving person. And I can't wait to find out why that happens, because there are 2 women who are making this movie. It's a very small, you know, like homemade kind of vibe, an indie film, small budget, just like friends being cast, including themselves. And they're just like this enigma of a duo, the directors slash writers of it. And they just have this like vision, they have this experience together, they have this connection that is kind of untouchable, and it makes them very interesting to read about. But I have to put this on pause because I can only read it in the dark. And this one I'm gonna read today, but I can only read it physically because there is no audiobook. And I need to do some things today, like clean my house. We got home from vacation, and usually when I come home, I'm like unpack the suitcase, do laundry, like tidy everything up. But because we were just rolling into a readathon, like the house is chaos, and I want to pop in an audiobook while I'm cleaning, and I don't have anything. So I was thinking maybe I will pick up One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I'm not technically supposed to read that until day 6 and 7. Anyway, gotta get Liam, go to the grocery store. I'll check in with you at some point, I promise. Okay, now that things are a little bit tidier in here, let's mess it up again by pulling out books for today's Instagram challenge, which is books with black and orange covers. I think I have a good amount of them. Like, is this, look at that. This is orange-ish. This is more red, but maybe the photo I'm gonna take is gonna have a bunch of books, and some you'll see the spines and some you'll see the cover. That's a good one. That's a good one. How to Sell a Haunted House is somewhere back here. Let's see if I can guess where it is. I think it's on this shelf. Why are you doing this with one hand? There we go. Oh, and I need to show you what I got from the library. I got Tempest of Tea, which I have no idea if I'll get to before I have to return it in 3 weeks. I have a couple romance books, The Kiss Countdown and Truly Madly Deeply, because I'm working on a romance project very loosely, very sporadically. I have A Sentimental Education, which I don't know. I think I might swap out the other members TBR jar pick because I'm already reading a nonfiction in the vlog that I'm filming. So I might move that one to next month. And then this one, wait, I thought I was moving this one to August. Maybe I'm moving it to September. Why do I have it? Mistborn. I'm reading it someday. That was chaotic. Oh, and I decided on the treat that I'm making, and it really fits with the orange cover situation because I'm gonna make carrot cake cinnamon buns. So I just went and bought a bunch of carrots, and I think I have everything else. And I am gonna listen to the audiobook of One Perfect Couple while I bake, but I decided I'm not gonna update you on anything. I'm not gonna get past like 25% today, but I'm not gonna update you on that read because then I'm gonna have nothing to talk about on day 7. So I will hold on to all of my thoughts until I read it for that. But just know that's what I'll be up to during the montage you're about to watch. that dough for just like 7 minutes because I don't have a mixer, and it made me so hot I had to take a cold shower after. So now my dough has been rising for 2 hours and I'm ready to roll it out. Oh gosh. Wait, do I have a rolling pin?
I don't think you do, man.
No, I do. Don't we have a wooden one? Don't mess with me.
I don't even recognize that, so that makes sense.
The last time I used this was when I made that terrible roll, and now I'm rolling again. Anyway, while my dough was resting and rising, I read my book, this one, and I didn't much like it. It does say a Gothic novella on it, and so I will give it credit for being that. When you pitch yourself as a Gothic book, the atmosphere is expected to be high, and this one definitely was. That's what it had going for it. The humidity, the forest, the house, all of it was very well described. I'm supposed to make this into a rectangle. What'd you just say, Ro? I just don't know how to turn a circle into a square. I had to put my dough in my closet because that's the warmest place in the house. And I've got my AC just blowing. The story itself, I think, could have lost like 50 pages and just been turned into a short story in an anthology, because I think it was trying to do too many things and it needed to be cut down or like expanded into something completely different. Basically, there's this man who makes a deal with the devil, obviously inferred in the title, and he is also telling the devil a story. That's like part of the deal. But the story is in the book, and it's like both too much of the book and too little of the book. And then also outside of that situation, he has been invited to this place to give, he's a doctor, and he is giving like a speech. And the book is leading up to that moment, but then it never actually gets there, and it talks about that in the synopsis itself. Because before he can get to that, he realizes the people who have invited him have more sinister purposes for wanting him there. There were interesting topics going on, like ancestry and colonization, but it was ultimately just like too short, a little bit hard to follow, and it just didn't work for me. So I'm gonna give it, I think, a 2 point something, which is sad because I realized this is a really like an unknown book. It only has 37, it did come out this year, but it only has 37 ratings, and I wanted to be like the champion of this book and tell everyone about it, but it just wasn't that great. But I will read more from that author for sure. I know I've read, either I read a short story or he edited a short story collection. I don't think this is enough carrot. There's carrot in the dough and in the filling, but I kind of want to do a little bit more. I'll link the recipe down below, but make sure you listen to my review before you make it yourself. Don't just start making it right now. Wait until I've eaten it. Although there's definitely the potential for user error because I'm not a baker. Okay, now the moment of truth. We roll. Oh God, I've been here before.
Say like Optimus Prime.
What?
Roll out.
Oh, I'm rolling. It's happening. It says roll tightly. I don't know how. I don't know. It's like when you're rolling a sleeping bag and you have to like tug on it. What? You're so tall. Go back there.
Bro, that's good. Yeah.
Or is it just gonna put so
It
much
tastes
cream
like a
cheese
cinnamon.
icing
No,
on?
it's not even the icing that I'm liking. It's a cinnamon bun, but has an aftertaste of carrot cake. It's so good.
It's really not that carroty.
No.
I actually didn't get to the middle though.
I was just gonna say I got into the third layer, and it's way more carroty. It's good. Look at that. Look at this center bit. Look at that. So much carrot. Good job.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm impressed.
I'm gonna give that like an 8 out of 10.
I was gonna say 7 or 8.
Make this double the carrot.
Yeah.
Liam! Try and give me your rating, please. He's smiling! What's your rating? 8.5.
He gave it higher than you.
He likes me. Should I bring another one?
Nope.
The final reading of the day is about to commence. I need to make it as dark as I can in here. The sun doesn't set until like 10 p.m. But if I don't start reading until that point, I won't finish the book. by the time I go to bed. So I just need to close the blinds a little bit more, turn off all the lights, and then tune into the audiobook. And I'll be doing nothing else, which is very unlike me. I always am walking, cross-stitching, cleaning, like doing something while I'm listening to an audiobook. Even if I'm not doing something active, I'm like scrolling through my phone or I'm doing a little puzzle, but no screen, no light is involved. And I just feel like this is going to be a fun way to listen to an audiobook, especially one that's supposed to be a little bit creepy. Doors closing. Wait, where's my phone? I just wanted to tell you that it's 9 o'clock at night and that's the sunlight still coming through. The boys are outside playing baseball and I'm in here listening to a scary audiobook. Actually, it's not scary and I don't think it's supposed to be scary. And it's so easy for the book to lean into like all of the people died while making the horror movie. That's not what it is. Just so interesting uncovering how people died after the fact.
The three teens point at the corner behind him, the corner made by the supply room and blackboard walls. The thin kid obeys, walking as though in slow motion. His long, thin legs remain bent partially even as they stretched over distance, languid and sloth-like. Once in the corner, he stands to his full height. The curled-up bottom of the mask vibrates at the neck. Carson drags the backpack closer to where the teens stand, between the upturned teacher's desk and the supply room door. They are 10 feet away from the thin kid.
Okay, I had to turn my light on for an update. This audiobook is so well produced and it's definitely giving me the heebie-jeebies. Listening to it in the dark and doing nothing else and just having it tuned in. The scenes when it switches between being the script versus filming, it's like, sometimes it's really abrupt. If you're really tuned in, you're listening to it at a reasonable pace and that's all you're doing, I don't think it's confusing. It could get confusing if you have it on like a rapid speed and you're just trying to go about your day. It's something you really have to pay attention to because there's a lot happening all at once. They're making this movie and you're reading the script, or they're reading the script to you as they're flipping the pages, as they're stumbling over words, getting used to the language. And then it switches to the actual like movie and what's happening, but then it'll switch to reflecting on the real life people and what was happening in the moment. And just something about the ambiance that I'm currently experiencing, going from casually talking in the script to like the full scene happening and then what happened in that scene, it felt very intense.
Valentina points to the blackboard. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Who said you could do that? Who said you could do anything?
What an unhinged ending. So I am gonna go ahead and give this 5 stars, but I'm allowed to turn the lights back on now and I'll explain it to you. So this one's really similar to the Pallbearers Club. I think people will overall like this more, but I also think if you are a fan of the Pallbearers Club, which there's not too many of us, that you will enjoy this equally. I think the friendship vibes are really similar. The dedication to somebody's legacy, not being able to trust main characters, the like different timelines, but also it does bring the horror a little bit more. It might not be what everybody is expecting as far as like jump scares and really eerie scenes. But for me and my experience with this author, I think it was exactly what I had hoped it to be. There were quotes I thought were so great. One where he was getting like the mask put on him, talked about how he's like leaving a part of him behind because like hairs got pulled out by the mask, the mold making process. And I just think there's a lot inferred by that. This was also like a sad and melancholy kind of story. The characters are struggling in their own ways, but it also leaves you at arm's length for a lot of them. And I just love the style of this. I loved the writing of it. I loved the mixed media format, but so much of it was told in like a traditional narrative, which is my perfect mix because I can't just have like constant scripts. There needs to be like an actual style and a voice to a character for me to love something like this, and I loved it. I don't think it's groundbreaking. I don't think it's like the best horror book of all time. Definitely more fitting for the genre than the Pallbearers Club, no doubt. But I think it also fits with what this author does and the types of stories and the horror that he covers. I would recommend this most for people who are fans of Paul Tremblay, not people who have been reading his stuff because it's gotten a lot of hype and like maybe this is the one that's gonna change your mind. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of vlog days 4 and 5. And wish me luck in finding a 5-star in that final vlog, because I have found one in each so far. But until then, love you so much as a friend, and I'll see you later. Bye!